Everton 3, Chelsea 0 then it finishes. Chelsea missing out on the opportunity to go above Liverpool for a race for a place in the Champions League. Horrible week, of course, for Chelsea, losing against Newcastle over those 2 legs, humiliated by PSG, going now to Merseyside and not turning up. What's wrong?
I think you'd have to question the desire today. At no stage did they look as though they were interested. Mm-hmm. There was nothing to hang your hat on in terms of, you know, we're not. Sometimes you can leave a ground away, particularly away from home, and say, you know, we lost a goal at the wrong time, or we got unlucky with that, or the goalie made a mistake. Boy, you're sitting on the boss playing whatever it is, and looking at his performance, and every single piece of it was off and horrible. And the biggest problem would be for me was my team showed no desire whatsoever. They played from the first, pretty much to the 90th minute, and just accepted what was happening.
Right.
They just accepted what was happening. Everton are at home. Everton look as though they were hungry. And Chelsea just looked as though they didn't have the fight for it.
So a couple of things about this Chelsea performance that kind of made me wonder. One, are they now at a stage where they're looking for scapegoats? Who to blame in this? In that there was a passage of play that Enzo Fernandez could have slipped in Cole Palmer. He didn't, and Cole Palmer remonstrated. Now, given that it's Enzo Fernandez and some of his own theatrics, you don't want to read too much. But that just seems to me, on the back of Enzo Fernandez and his antics, and now Cole Palmer and others, you just wonder if they're starting to blame each other for what's going on. And then to Stevie's point, while you could look at the goals, the third goal apart and blame individual errors, no question. Fofana doesn't track Beto. But then if you look at the build-up play to that goal from Everton, 2 players pass the ball in midfield. Nobody from Chelsea gets anywhere close. If you look at the build-up to the second, yes, there was a Robert Sanchez mistake, but 2 Chelsea players run into each other. I mean, it just feels so comical right now, some of the mistakes from Chelsea. And again, which is why I'm now starting to feel that this season is just winding down. Quite clearly, Chelsea can't be rid of it quickly enough. And these players are, a lot of them, trying to save their own hides.
What does that tell you about Rosenior?
Well, it tells me a lot about the players, that if you step onto the pitch, the first thing, or one of the things that comes to your mind when things start going poorly, is I'm looking for who to point at, who to remonstrate at. But no, you need to your question, you need a strong manager on the sidelines to kind of call that out. And whether it's drop players or make examples of them somehow. And I'm not sure that Liam Rosenior, is that person. You don't get that feeling from him, from some of his body language on the sidelines.
Yeah, you don't get the feeling that he's got that nasty streak in him.
No.
They're all good managers have got that side. You know, as a player in a dressing room, when things are going bad, that's the one thing when you're coming off the field, whether it's half-time or at the end of a game, when you've not performed and you're thinking, oh, I hope he's not. I hope we don't see that side of him.
This is Premier League and Champions League.
Yeah.
This is horrible.
Yeah. Tactics, coaching, all that's all great, but sometimes you need a fist, and sometimes you've got to use it. And you just wonder whether he's got a fist, and you wonder whether he can actually use it. And that, I guess we'll find out the next time Chelsea step on the field. Because as a coach, next time you go out, you point to this game and say, I will not accept what happened at Hill Dickinson Stadium.
You threw me then. So what happens next?
We've got to see the response. You know,
what if there's no response and this just kind of
that's on the man.
To the summer, and then are we talking about another manager for Chelsea?
Well, yes, because if there's no response, you know, if I'm director of football, that's what I'm looking for, particularly after this poor performance. I want a response, and if I get a response, that'll tell me that the players have still got it in them to go out and win games, and that has to come from both the manager and the players. If they come out and they put on the same sort of performance as they did at Everton, then you've got to start questioning the manager whether he can actually deal with the players, can he motivate them? All of those questions are are needed answers. And if Chelsea limp from here to the end of the season, then you absolutely got to start thinking about another manager.
I'm just looking at Chelsea's upcoming games now. They've got Port Vale in the Cup.
Right.
Then they're home to Manchester City, home to Manchester United, away to Brighton.
Right.
Chelsea could quite easily lose those three. Quite easily. Probably the only question mark is Brighton, but look what they just did Liverpool.
Yeah.
And so to your question, I think Liam Rosenior is in danger.
At what stage do we start looking above Liam Rosenior and saying we've talked about this defence for so long that there should have been reinforcements made to this Chelsea squad a long time ago, and they didn't come?
I think the fact that not that long ago, Chelsea's chief scout, director of football, was Todd Bowley, who quite frankly knows nothing about football. So that's what you're dealing with at Chelsea. Nobody quite knows who actually has the final say and who's in charge and who's making the decisions, because clearly they're getting them wrong, and consistently wrong. So if you think that Todd Bowley is going to let Chelsea limp to the end of the season between now and then without making a move, then you're mistaken.
Who would you prefer to be at the moment, Arne Slot or Liam Rosenior?
On a slot, I've got a title win under my belt. And that stands up to a test. So, regardless of what happens in the next few months, Arne Slot is as his reputation takes a dent, but he's going to find work.
I meant safety-wise, obviously.
Oh, safety-wise?
Yes, sorry. Not just in life.
No, safety-wise, I think Liam Rosenior is in far more danger, kind of, especially given Chelsea's history. Well, both Chelsea's and Liverpool's history around managers. Liverpool tend to back their managers. Chelsea, as we've seen, both under Abramovich and under, Blue Square, or whatever it's called, Todd Bowley, they have, at the slightest dip in results, they have parted ways with their manager.
I think the difference between Chelsea and Liverpool is that Liverpool's owners have got vast experience in the sporting industry and don't panic. They don't jump to conclusions and make quick, off-the-cuff decisions. That's what Chelsea do. So that's why you would be more worried about Rosenior.
A lot more on what we saw in the Premier League this weekend over on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to go to ESPN FC and subscribe.